Hey, what's up everyone? This is Brian back again. In this episode, we will talk about Gitkraken and what basically Gitkraken is and how you can take advantage. Just a disclaimer, I am not a I don't know what it's called, but like the top Git person to go to, but me as a developer, this is the tool that I use in order to get on my day-to-day task in regard to Git, right? So let's go and begin. There you go. That's our screen. So Gitkraken is my favorite. There's many GUI, Git GUI out there that you can download, but I personally like Gitkraken. And I think like if you actually go to Google and just type in like, Git GUI, Git GUI, Git GUI, Git GUI. Yeah, you will probably see a bunch of them if you click like, I don't know anyone top. I know GitHub, for example, they have their own GitHub GUI, I guess that's what's called. But yeah, there's many. There's Gitkraken, then there's like one that is provided by Atlassian, then there's like Gitkraken, which is my favorite. But yeah, but I'm sure I don't know the term right here right now what to search for the best Git GUI client. But let's look at this. Yeah, there you go. GitHub Desktop, Gitkraken, Source Tree. A lot of my friends they like Source Tree a lot too. That's another free option. Gitkraken has both free and premium, so you can decide which one you like. I actually think, oh, there you go, my alarm. I actually like personally the pro version, so I do pay $49, I think. We're gonna get into that shortly. For the pro version, so yep. And then there's a bunch of this. Yeah, I haven't used any of them. I think the only ones that I used was GitHub Desktop, Gitkraken, and Source Tree. Yep. So yeah, so let's go ahead and download Gitkraken. And I want to please go ahead and comment and see like which one you choose, right? And then just go ahead and tell me like, did I make your job easier by like, executing command lines or just basically using a GUI, right? Gitkraken and Git GUIs are basically like a command line that is being executed, but with the UI, right? It's like you move things around or you push or you pull, and it just basically execute that commands on that project or files. Okay, so Google Gitkraken. If you go to the website, this is the homepage, and yep, this is the homepage. And let me make the screen bigger a little bit. Yep. In here, if you go to the client, this is the one that we would use. I don't know if you guys watched my VS Code video, but remember how I said there is a Gitlin, which kind of tell you on who commit at what certain things. I think that's what Gitlin is usually for, but I'm not quite sure. But that's how I use it. But Gitkraken, let's go to pricing, has these options like in the pricing, which is like the free. A lot of people can get away with the free version. I personally go with the pro version, just because it does have some advantages. So yeah, like private and public, as I say right here. If you're working for professional environment, which is like you need the enterprise and self-managed and a bunch of other, like, it's just like these tiny things that really matter when you work in the professional field. But yeah, that's why I like the pro version. Then you can also have like multiple Git accounts. Yep, and then of course there's teams, but these are usually for businesses. And then enterprise is for like, you know, huge businesses like Apple and Google. I guess that's what they use. Yep. There is, if you come down here, you will see like which plan fits for you. You can, you know, overview this table and see what's really match you and your style of like Git flow. So yeah, yep. So yeah, pick that. I have the pro version and I love it. I think it's worth every penny. And I think you pay yearly. So if you click on buy, yeah, you do pay early, but I'm gonna show you how you can actually purchase it from the application itself too. Yep. And let's go ahead and download Gitkraken now. So when you come here in the home page, you can just click on download Mac. Of course, there are other platforms as usual that you can download. I think they support Windows. Why is it not loading? Yep, Windows, Mac, Linux, of course, all the top three operating system. In this case, we are using Mac and it's Intel, so let's download that. Let's install by drag and drop into the application folder, and then I guess we can just uninstall. I got a habit that I always clean my desktop before I open an application. So yeah, let's go ahead to the application folder and look for Gitkraken. Yep, let's put it in the desktop. Okay, cool. Why did I open that? All right, let's click on Gitkraken icon. And of course, the security of Apple, we kind of have to follow, which, you know, you kind of allowing the application to open. So this is the first screen that you will see, right? This kind of, again, this is kind of like a VS Code, so like release notes and that type of thing, which tell you like what is the latest updates within the versions. So we're gonna X that. I believe I already have my environment set up here, as you can see, Brian, and logged in. But usually you would, let's see if we can sign out. Yeah, let's manage my account. Yeah, but usually you have to sign in. So basically, that's what you got to do. Yep. So you go up here and then you click on sign in, and then you sign into your account. Yep. And that's how you get access. But then you can actually purchase like or downgrade or upgrade your membership right from Gitkraken application, and you do that by managing accounts. Of course, you don't want to delete account, and then you would go to, was it here? So yeah, so Gitkraken have, I think, like 2 setting page. One of them it's the profile one, and let's look for the other one. Manage accounts. Manage profile. Oh, right here. So, no, not here. Sorry. Yeah, it usually give you an option as to like to buy a membership. I just don't know why it's not showing up right now. They do have a lot of like update, which is a good sign of an application that, you know, they are following up and they are improving. But yeah, there should be like a, I think I think it's usually when you sign in and it asks you like, hey, what membership you want, and that's where you select your membership type. You can always continue with free or free trial for 7 days on the pro version. But yeah, that's how you usually get access to the pro version. Look at the documentation. Let's see. Gitkraken upgrade individual to pro. Organization subscription. Oh, I see. So I think you have to do it at the organization level. So like, go here, manage profile. Sorry, exit. This is preference. Go here, manage account, and then if you go to 8gate, which is my company. Yep. If you go to that company, 8gate subscription, and then you click subscription, that's where you manage your subscription for Gitkraken. Of course, update payment, switch, to different membership. I always get this one, Gitkraken Client Pro, and then of course there's bundle, and then bundle will provide you with many other things like I think like Jira, project management, that type of thing. So like, GitLint Pro, it provides you with many different tools, the bundle ones. But let's see what it has. Gitkraken. Interesting. The bundle one is not here. Yeah, there you go. I think it provides Jira, and then the GitLint, and then Gitkraken client itself. So that's what the bundle actually include. I believe though, but I gotta double check on that. So yeah, I'm happy with the Gitkraken Client Pro. I think it get most of my stuff done and what I need to do. Yep, you do pay annually, and I think it's like, what does it say, $59.40? Perfect. I think it's worth every penny, especially if you're working professional and you need to like rapid, like pull, push, remote access, and that type of thing. All right, so let's X this and let's begin with Gitkraken. Okay. Gitkraken, it's basically like a repository management. If you're familiar with Git services such as like GitHub, .com, of course you have to have this even to showcase your projects to like potential employer. So like GitHub is one of them, and then there's like Bitbucket. Bitbucket. Oh, Bitbucket was actually purchased by Atlassian. I forgot about that. Yep. So like Bitbucket, and then I guess there's like GitLab. Yep, GitLab. Yep. I actually started learning about Git from GitLab, but I am fully on GitHub site now. But you should know different. You should at least know like an overall of like what they provide each. But they're all basically like Git cloud services that you can upload repository and manage your project and control and version controlling, right? So let's X this. So these are cloud services, and what Gitkraken is basically allow you to manage these services without command line. So you can just actually like execute, like you can actually move things around, and it would like execute things for you, right? So that is what Gitkraken is, honestly. It's just the management of repositories through GUI, okay, through interface. So there you go. Let's go ahead and so of course the recent repo that I have worked on would show up here. But I'm gonna go and I am going to like unlink my GitHub just because I want to kind of show you guys how to set one up. So if we X these preferences, and if you go here, in the first welcome window, you see like integrations. First thing first, you always need to integrate your cloud service, your Git cloud services. I use GitHub. There are other ones that you should kind of look into. But I guess the first ones are usually like the Git cloud services, but then there are like Jira Cloud, Jira Services, and Trello that you can actually integrate within the Gitkraken client. But for this demo purposes, we're just gonna speak about GitHub. But you should definitely look into other ones. So yeah. So let's go ahead and link our GitHub. Click on GitHub, and then you can see you have GitHub here and GitHub Enterprise and a bunch of other Git cloud services. Again, GitHub connect. Of course, we have to log in. Yeah. All right. So now I have to answer my phone just because I do have security installed on this due to the environment that you work in. They kind of make like ask you to do this for security purposes. So I just confirm, and there you go, and that should get me in. So make sure you authorize the repositories that you want, and then you click on open Gitkraken. Yep, so now your GitHub account, it's linked in Gitkraken. So you should be able to access all your repository from Gitkraken. So let's tap, let's X this right here, and go to repository section, and repository section, or you can open a repo by cloning from your cloud services. So you would click on open a repo and then clone, and then click on github.com, and then search for a project that you work in. In this case, I'm just gonna pick an example, which is Bmail. It was one of my side projects, and I would clone this in user Brian sites Bmail. Yeah. Where to clone it? You can always set up your folder here. So you would just click on browse, and then you can put it even in desktop. So I'm gonna put it in desktop for now. Actually, no. Let's go back to sites. So yeah, I would just clone it in my site folder, and let's do that. And it would say successfully clone repo. So open that repo now. Now this is the magic. This is where all the good things happen, right? So like in the top, you have, first it tells you like what repository you're on. It would tell you what branch from that repository. And so branches are like, branches. It's like, what are you working on? And you can kind of specify your work task or your workload in different branches if you don't want to interfere with other codes. So that's what you use branches for. But again, there's so many other things. So like you can set up branches for your continuous integration environments, where each developer contribute to that specific branch in order for the deployment to take effect. So there's many ways that you can set up branches, but yeah, every company different way, different Git flow. You just have to get used to that Git flow, right? Every company that you start working with. So yeah, so branches, in this case we only have master. Masters are always the main branch, but usually there would be other ones, so like devs, which is like for developers, QA, which is like for quality assurance. But yeah, you would kind of get familiarized once you get into the field. But yeah, that's where branches are. And then up here we have undo, which is undoing the task that you just did in your within your Git GUI, and then redo, again, redoing whatever you did in your Git GUI. Pull, push. You should be familiar with this stuff before you even get into Gitkraken. You kind of have to familiarize yourself a little bit with what is Git, right? So that's very important. Yep. Then of course push branches as we speak. Stash pop. These are my two favorite. My two favorite commands that I heavily use, especially in environments where things are rapidly evolving and you need to change things around and you need to like stash things and then come back to it later on the same branch. So that's where it is. And then terminal, of course, the GUI does give you like a terminal where you can actually execute different commands in that repo in your local environment. Then these are boards, which is like project management that is provided by Gitkraken. And then timeline. I never use timeline myself, so I don't know exactly what is that. Let's drink some water. Talk so much. Yeah, let me just record some like. This also hit the fan, guys. Like it's getting hot here. Alright, cool. Alright, water break is done. Let's go back. Okay. So these are the commands that you can run from the top. In our left side we have our branches and like our origin environment. So there are locals and then there are origins, right? Origin is like the cloud, right? And or different origins, right? But so we got our local explorer, then we have our remote, which is like the cloud version. Like this is Git. This is what is coming from Git. Like this is the repo from Git. But this is like what's in our local environment as of now. Then there's like pull requests. So like if one of you guys make a pull request in a project as a team, then it would show up here, and then you can view them right here, right? You can see your pull, you can see the ones that are assigned to you. It just makes everything so much easier. Like you don't have to live your Gitkraken environment in order to execute things, right? So that's what Gitkraken is. Now issues, again, this is related to like tickets or issues within like Git like GitHub. If you let's actually let me demo that. So like let's say we are logging in GitHub and we are on this project Tello, and if you click on issues, if someone create an issue, like a new issue, it would show up here, right? And you can just basically you can basically like, you know, see the issues here. And do you want GitHub default issue tracker type? No. If you do want that, I haven't used it, but I always say no. So yeah, so issues will show up from GitHub here. And then teams are basically like the team member that are, if your team has to have a Gitkraken also installed in their desktop in order to work together from Gitkraken. But it's not necessary. I know many developers that I work with that they don't have a Gitkraken and they're lost, honestly. But Gitkraken make your job so much easier. Like you don't have to write command line, you just drag and drop things. And then tags, submodule, and then GitHub Actions, right? So you can also set up action like workflow. So this project, so in this main window, you would see your commit messages. You would see who involved in those commit messages, and then it was in here. It will show you like the tags and branches. But I'm gonna show you guys how we can actually just create branch right on fly, and you don't have to write any command. So like, look at this, how magicful and how nice is that? You just right click, and then you just go down and say create branch. Voila, and we're just gonna call this test branch. There you go. So we just create branch, and it after once you create it, it would check out on that branch. So when you check out, you are on that branch. If you want to go back to master, you just, again, there is no changes in this test branch, so it's kind of like level with master. But yeah, if you want to go back to master, you just hover over the level branches and then call master, and you would check out on master, so you can start working on master. In this demo purposes, we're just gonna work on test branch, and then now we get to the fun part. So we're gonna make some change in the code. Yeah, we can actually like put this down and open VS Code. Do follow one of do go and visit the video that I made about VS Code and why VS Code is nice. So let's go ahead and what was that project? So open, and if you go to sites, we have Bmail here. So let's open Bmail, and these are our files. So this is what like we have in this project. Remember, if you guys watch my VS Code video, I say that I'm using Gitlin, and Gitlin allow me to see who commit at certain code, so certain code and certain lines. If you look at here and I click on this right here, you see that like it tells me that I commit something 4 years ago, right? In this line, that was me. That was the person that made this change on this line. So this is where Gitlin come very handy and useful with VS Code, right? Yeah. So this is the good stuff. So now, just for this demo purposes, we're just gonna make some changes and say Bmail, and then is awesome, and then save, and let's. Again, you're gonna do many other changes. This is just for this Gitkraken demo, but you're gonna make changes to licenses, documentation, JavaScript, styles, in order to get your project like to the way that you want. Let's go ahead and show you guys what actually change I made. So I'm just gonna open this project. This was just basically a bootstrap project that I made that would kind of compose a mail, right? So like you would type in here and that type of thing. So yeah, that's the project that I created a long time ago, like 4 years ago. But yeah, so like as you can see, we made the change, and now it's a Bmail is awesome, right? If we X this, and now we go back to Gitkraken. Watch this. Gitkraken tracked our changes. So now we put it on top as the head. So like in our local environment. So like once we click on that, you can click on the stage files, because it's still on the stage. We haven't committed. We haven't say, oh, this is the file I want to commit. It's still in a stage file. So as you can see, it tells you like the changes that you've done. Man, I got my allergies kicking in. So, yep. So as you can see, it say is awesome. That's the change that we made. And then if you approve this, you can just go on the right hand side and say stage this file, and then make our commit by going to the window down here in the bottom right. In the summary, we would say add text, right? for demo purposes. So we just add our text and then we commit. Now our commit, now as you can see, the test branch is on the top, right? It has its own separate branch. Our changes is an entirely different control, like a version, right? It hasn't been uploaded to the cloud. It's not affecting other people's code. It's still local. And master, the main project files are already intact and they're not being harmed. So now if we go back to GitHub, watch this. Just because GitHub is a cloud services and we make those commit locally. If I search for Bmail here, the project that we created, and if I click on branches, I don't see any branch here, right, in our cloud service provider. So what you have to do, again, this branch is just locally. This little icon that is a local, right? This is basically, I mean, these file changes are only on your desktop, not on your cloud services. So what we would do, we would click on push. So we make sure that we are checked out on that branch, and then we click on push. And then it asks you, where do you want to push? And that's origin, and it would be called test branch. Perfect. So now the branch that we created, it is in our cloud service, GitHub cloud services. So now if we go back and we refresh this, you can see we have a new branch with one commit ahead, right? So it's like one commit ahead of the master. And as you can see, there you go, our changes in cloud, and other developers now can pull and start making different changes, right, on that branch. So now if we kind of satisfy what we like in test branch, and other developers say in the Scrum meeting, hey guys, I think this works, this is awesome, let's go ahead and commit it to our master, which is like the main branch. So we would just simply drag and drop it to master. If you have an administrative password, you can just go ahead and say merge test branch into master. But if you're a developer and you're working in a team, you would usually do a pull request. And the person that kind of like a senior developer or like the lead, they would approve your branch. In this case, I'm gonna show you guys a pull, and then, but I'm not gonna create that pull request. I'm just going to show how it's done. So you would, what you would do, you would drag, go to master, and start a pull request. And this window comes up and it tells you, okay, let's create a pull request and let's say where to where, right? So in here, we're saying a repo branch test branch goes to the repo that is branch master. And then in here, we say, what is this pull request title? So we just say add text for demo purposes, right? And then we say reviewer. If you have reviewer set up with that Git repository in GitHub, then it will show up here and say, hey, I want John or Adam in this case to review my code. This is where you would see it. And of course, assignee, it's me in this case. And then labels, if you have like different labels that you guys set up. Yep. So that's how you create pull requests. And then you create on create pull request, and then that pull request will show up in here, right, in your pull request dialog. In this case, we're not going to create a pull request. So I'm just going to cancel it. And we are just going to like merge it to the master. And as you can see, master now is ahead in local. So we would check out on master, and then we would push. And that's it. You just commit your first code to the master as a developer by creating your own branch. Now, let's say the team came back and say, hey, we don't like this. So what would you do? Right now it's like the tricky part. That's where like, that's when you're actually like, if you had to do this through command lines, it would be so much, right? So what would you do? It might actually not be so much if you're used to it, but like as a new developer, it would be so much, right? So what would you do? Let's say that, and then, so we would see like, okay, what was the last commit? And that was like $log sizes, right? If you go back to GitHub, first I want to show you guys something and refresh. You see that our master, it's now affected by test branch, right? And if you go to the index, you will see that our code that we change is in master. So it's like in the main file, in the main folder. But now the users are like, get that code out of the master. We don't want it there, right? Because it caused some error or some issue. So you usually deal with the senior developer and lead, and they work with you at your workplace in order to like revert back. But you as a person, as a developer, should also know how to do it. So you would go back to Git GUI, and then you would click on that commit that there was last before the one that you made, and let's say create a branch here, and we will call revert branch, right? And in revert branch, I'm just gonna push it again. We have to push it. There are many ways to revert back, but this is one way, right? You just got to be creative. That's what about Git GUI, Git Git GUI is, they make it more simpler for you to execute things like this. So I would just create a branch from here, and I would say delete my test branch from local and from cloud service, so origin, because we don't want that anymore and we don't want to be confused. And then we would say master, let me see, we would say yeah, these are tricky when you do it through. We say fast word revert to master, merge master into revert. No, that's not how it's done. So let's undo that. Let's undo that. Let's actually delete. Yep, reset local, and then delete our test branch local. Okay, it's not deleting it. Delete and query check. Oh, because we were checked on it, so we have to check out and then delete. And then, yeah, it get a little bit confusing. Where is it? Where is it? Check out on master. Oh, reset master to this commit. So yeah, so once you have that master ahead, you would just hover over the revert that you want to have, and then you would right click and then you say revert master to this commit, and you would call it hard discard all changes. So you would delete all the changes that you make, awesome stuff. And the master now it's here, but again that's local. So to make sure that master in the origin is also at the same level, so you just click on push, and then you will say force push. And there you go. So we just revert that code. The changes that we made are not there. And now if you go back to our code, in VS Code and you go in index, you see that there you go, bmail. It's not awesome, but it is awesome. So yeah, so that's how we revert back things. So that's one example of, that's how you create branch, that's how you revert back to master branch, that's how you delete branch. Now let's say there is a case, we should actually go on about, like, let's say there is a case scenario where you are working on, let's say, on a branch, and let's go back here. Let's say that you are working on a branch and you totally, let's say you're working on a master branch and you totally forget to create a branch that for your changes, but now the lead developer is like, hey man, can you test this new code, not based on the changes that you made, but just from wherever the master is. So this is how you do it. First, let's make some changes, right? So we would say bmail changes are made, and then we go back to Gitkraken, and as you can see now we have our changes and we're still on master, but let's delete the revert again from origin and local. You always remember that you have local repo and you also have a cloud repo, so you always want to make sure that they sync as you need them, right? To not lose your data and versions. So yeah, let's say the lead developer is like, hey man, go ahead and work on this instead of that, but you were working on master and you're like, oh shit, sorry for my or you're like, wow, I have like something already working on, how can I like stash this, right? How can I stash this and then come back to it later? So what you would do, you would just say click on a stash, and there you go, you're stashed and you're back to the master, and you can make new changes. Right now you see the changes are gone, and then we're going to call it new changes and then save, and there you go. So now that master that you're on is not with changes, but it's with new changes, right? So changes is already gone. But then now your lead developer is giving you a hard time. You're like, you know what, man, I think we should just go back and work on that previous thing that we were doing, right? And you're like, man, come on, man, why do you keep doing this to me? And then you get angry. I mean, you don't get angry, but like, you know, you're like, all right, well, I got Gitkraken and I can make it so easy for me, right? You come at me, bro. So yeah, so how we do it now is that we would say, go to here on the new changes file at that level, and then we would say discard all changes by clicking on this little icon in the top right, and then now we would go here on the stash that we did and click on apply the stash, and this would apply to the branch that you are checked out, right? So in this case we are applying to the master because we are checked out that branch. But if you had another branch created, you could say another branch. You could say another branch and then apply that stash to another branch. Yeah, that's another case scenario. So like, let's apply it to data stash. And yeah, so now as you can see, it is applied to another branch. And if I commit to another branch, commit to another branch, now you can see another branch is ahead of a master, so it's above master, because another branch is having our latest code that we were working on previous to our lead developer or our project manager say, hey, switch back, right? So that's how we do it, and then we would just go on the stash and we would just say pop, and that's get rid of it. So yeah, so that's our how you stash thing, and then go back to your project and then work on things. As you can see, like all this happening within just simple clicks, right? Make it so much easier to just when you're working on the huge magnitude project and you're dealing with multiple developers. So yeah, let's go drink some water again. We need some water. I don't know why my mouth is getting dry today. Man, I talk so much. Yeah. Yeah, this is some good water. Okay. Anyway, so back to our. So yeah, so let's delete this branch. Oh, again, see, we cannot delete it because we are checked out at that branch. So we have to make sure that we check out on master and then delete the branch. Perfect. All right. So that's how you kind of deal with multiple things, right? And now let's say that you are not the one that making the change, right? In that case scenario, then it would be pull, not push, right? Let's say another developer. Let's go back to GitHub right now. And let's say another developer went to the index, and let's edit this file real quick. Vmail, another developer changes. Now, this developer is being lazy and he's just changing h1 tag, and we're saying change h1 tag text. And then that developer commit now, but we don't have this code in our local yet, right? We have it in our cloud, but we don't have that code. So we don't have his changes in our local environment yet. So how do we get it? There you go. You just wait a few minutes, and then once you're checking in your local, you just click on pull. And now you are sync with the other developer code. Very easy. You don't have to write all this command. Just click pull. So yeah, so that's how you pull, that's how you push, that's how you create pull requests, that's how you delete branches, that's how you discard all the changes, that's how in case scenario where your lead developer or your project manager or senior developer kind of bug you and you need to change around, that's how you do it. Honestly, there's so much more to Gitkraken to just speak about it in one video. This is just the basic that I think every developer require to get their hands on and start working on projects. But yeah, as time goes by, I will create other videos specific to each feature within this Gitkraken application, and maybe we can even talk about like case scenario of, let's say, a CTO of a company come and tell you like, hey, I need you to like behave different in your Git flow because now it's our rule, company rule, and that's where you kind of get more and more advanced into like Gitkraken, and you can do all of that. Yeah, so this is the basic for Gitkraken. I hope that you guys like this video. I hope that I actually add some value to your programming knowledge. Do download Gitkraken and play around with it, even if you make a mistake. That's how you learn most of the things. That's how I learn most of my programming knowledge, just by like trying and making errors and fixing them, and then learn, and like aha moments and all that stuff, right? So yep. Please, before you download Gitkraken, do get some knowledge for Git, how Git works, and then do get some knowledge of how Git Cloud Services works, like pull, push, and that type of thing. I hope that you guys like my videos. Please subscribe, likes, and share these videos if you think other people will find it useful. Comment below anything that you guys want me to make video on. And with that say, good night. Have a wonderful evening with the family and friends, and start coding and programming and make billions of dollars. Bye, guys.